But I mean, that's just something that tells you something about the instrument. You can infer that either the violins were much louder back then, which I doubt, or the second one was much softer.
That's great.
So anyway, that's the trivia of this that he's writing. But look at the clefs again. First and second trombone reading the alto clef, third trombone reading the tenor, and then the bass clef. So I remember last semester Dr. Miller playing with some orchestra and saying they gave him something with it was so high it was in alto clef. Said, oh, it was Mahler. And Mahler is very taxing on the brass instruments. Maybe he didn't like them or something. I don't see how. He's got his Sixth Symphony is an hour and 45 minutes long. And the French horns are playing almost the whole time. I don't know how they do it. Their lips must turn to rubber. But I don't know, he wrote as if they don't need any rest during his brass instruments. You can really wear down that muscle. All right. So he's got two alto, tenor. So what key are we in?
B flat.
B flat, yeah, just like the other one. Fourth measure, what chord is that? So the note in the bass, the lowest one is bass clef. What's that?
D.
D. Okay.
A.
Now tenor clef for the next one. A, yeah. So we have a D and an A. Perfect fit.
It's a D majors, right?
D major, yeah. So look at the second trombone now where there's another D, it's alto clef, and then the top one that's actually an F sharp. So that would be a secondary dominant in the key of B flat. So it would be a 5 of what?
2. 3. Yeah.
Yep. There.
2.
6.
6, sorry. B flat, 6 would be G, B flat, D. So actually in the first measure he's got a tonic, second measure he's got a dominant first inversion, third measure he's got a 5/7 of 2 going to a 2, and then the measure we looked at is a 5 of 6 and it goes to a 6. So he was not only experimenting with the trombone sound, but he was experimenting with harmony. And these kind of tax him to try to stop and read. But he actually goes from B flat major. He either uses change of mode or actually goes to B flat minor. Your choice. He does have a cadence there. You could harmonize. You could analyze this with a change of mode or going to B flat minor. But just telling you that Beethoven could not be creative. He had to be creative. This was just an exercise to hear how 4 trombones sounded together, but he had to experiment with changing mode. He couldn't just write something simple ever. It's kind of like Haydn. Haydn was asked to write music for parties. He could have done what everybody else did, write throwaway music, but he didn't. Haydn always made his party music stuff that we now can perform in concerts. It was really good stuff. Mozart too. When he wrote his serenades, that was part of it. But Eine kleine Nachtmusik, bum, 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 bum. That was music to be played in the background at some rich person's party. But he refused to write throwaway stuff. He always had to make it good. Same with Haydn, and same with Beethoven.
Well, I'm wondering, maybe it's because they thought that over history, maybe they wanted to be great, and they thought over history, they didn't want anything represented in them that wasn't incredible.
Yeah.
Because what if the good stuff got thrown away and
Right.
what was left was the crummy stuff?
That could very much be. I think it's a philosophy that everything they do, they want it to be great. But that is part of it. And later you find, well, Beethoven, when he wrote the short pieces for students, he called them bagatelles. So he purposely named them so people would not think he was trying to make great music. But even then, he would experiment, but they were very short. So he didn't want people to say, oh, he's lost it, he's doing these tiny little pieces. And there's a little trivia about Beethoven. Beethoven was hired by a publishing company to put piano parts to some folk songs, a bunch of British and Scottish folk songs. And I never hear any recordings of these, but I looked at the scores of the pieces. Beethoven, again, he refused to just write, 1-4-5. Some of just the introductions to them were very clever, changing mode, chromatic chords. I was looking for some recording. I was surprised nobody recorded it because the true story is the publisher was just trying to play off the name. Beethoven was famous, and they thought they could sell more if they hired Beethoven to do it. And evidently, Beethoven just kind of needed the money at the time and did it. But when I looked at him, I thought, oh, this will be easy to analyze. It wasn't. But it was kind of like your project. He had this melody. It was like your project too. He had the folk song, but no accompaniment. He put that in. But wow. All right. Sorry, we're having a music history lesson.
What's measure 8? What's measure 8 on that?
Change of mode.
This is where he starts going into B flat minor. So the parallel line from B flat major to B flat minor. And 8 is where probably you would find the pivot, or you would start putting COM under the chord. Because he's got he's a dominant seventh of a flat 3 built on the D flat instead of a D, which is in the minor. And then he actually has a tonic minor in measure 9. It's a dominant first inversion to a tonic minor. So you could call that change of mode tonic minor, but because it's a dominant to a tonic, you would also say maybe he did modulate. It's a close call. It's only about 4 measures that he does this. And then he goes right back to B flat major. So I'd probably lean maybe 60% toward, just change of mode. Like 40% toward, you could make a case for a modulation. Or maybe a 4-measure tonicization, one of those big long lines for 4 measures, whatever, in the mind. But he comes right back to B flat. And this is the whole thing. This is the whole thing he wrote, so. Just trying to see. Skip all the way to 266.
5-6?
266.
2-6-6.
Irregular. Now, turn the page back 1 page. Okay. Welcome to the 20th century. Okay. Now,
We're still 100 years behind.
and we'll never catch up because they keep writing new stuff. As soon as you
Darn
catch up,
them.
there's new stuff. That's why I say they had so much time back in the ancient days, because their history books were so thin.
Yes.
You take a modern history of civilization,
More and more.
it's got to be like 3 pages long up to 3000 BC. They had hardly any time to spend studying for history. They had time for we keep adding more and more time. We should start just reliving it. This is nothing, nothing difficult. Once we dropped the counting, I mean, if you wanted to count this, a number 1 in 5/8. 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. But we're not counting anymore, so let's try this. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Was that so hard?
Nope.
No. So they're irregular in a number of senses. One of them would be normally a 5/8 is a 3 + 2 or a 2 + 3. Maybe this one is going from 2 + 3 to 3 + 2. It's also irregular in the tying in the middle. If it's 2 + 3, then why is it tied there in the middle? It makes it sound like it keeps changing from 3 + 2 to 2 + 3. But that's okay. That's not a difficult thing to cope with. Next one, 5/4. So you can't go too